Hi friends, welcome back to the Share Report. If you are new here, thanks so much for joining. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share this channel with others so that we all can be active citizens. And those who have been around for a while, thanks so much for joining and returning. So I wanted to share more about the mask situation. I know you're probably thinking you're always talking about the mask, but I think it's vital and it's imperative because it's on the rise again, and I don't want to have a repeat of what we experienced 3.5 years ago. And another thing that I want us to do, I know I get on here and I educate people or I share information and we talk about what they're doing and they're doing this and they're talking about this, but we never have a solution. So at the very end of this video, I have something that we're all going to take a part of. I've done it myself. I took my time to type out a little paragraph for our senators to get behind a bill that I'm going to explain in a minute. So I put in the caption box, I also put it there for you to copy and paste. I did all the work for you, so you don't have to think of anything to say. It's there for you. We can all get on board. We can all send them some emails because, like I said, I do not want to have a repeat of what happened 3.5 years ago, especially to our children and those who are in the public business who are pretty much punished for not wearing a mask or going along with the scheme, the pandemic. So, there is a senator out in Ohio, his name is JD Vance, and he proposed a bill called S-2738, and it's called the Freedom to Breathe bill. And I actually read through the bill last night, and it's amazing. A friend of mine shared this with me, and so I decided to read through, do some research, and I thought to myself, I want to get behind this bill. It's a helpful bill, and it's at the federal level. So it pretty much states that the federal government cannot take our tax money, the money that we pay into the system, and use that to punish people or force people into mask mandates. That is airplanes, public transportation, schools, that includes teachers, children, and their parents. Federal funding doesn't go towards that because that's public money. Okay, so I really love that bill, and I'm going to play a clipping of him explaining it and going into some detail, and then I'll reconvene back into this video again.
I've lived through the failed experiment of mass mandatory. Sorry. I'm new at this, Mr. President, so it takes a little time. All of us have lived through the failed experiment of mass mandatory masking. Today, I want to ensure that we do not subject the American people to this tyranny again for the sake of nothing. We've recently seen a seasonal uptick of COVID cases across the country. This is not something to worry about. I don't like this fact, but COVID is here to stay. Seasonal upticks in a respiratory virus are exactly to be expected. They shouldn't cause panic from our leadership or from our country, and they shouldn't cause us to reimpose a policy that has failed time and time again. Many are now calling to bring back mask mandates and regulate social gatherings. I've heard some of my friends on the opposite side of the aisle say that no one is trying to do this, but let's just recapture and summarize the last couple of weeks. In August, Lionsgate Studio asked its employees to wear masks at their filming facility. Last week, Kaiser Permanente reimposed the requirement for staff and visitors to wear masks at its Santa Rosa, California facility. Schools such as Morris Brown College in Atlanta and even local public schools here in the D.C. area have reimposed mask mandates. Now, it's not just that masks, according to randomized controlled studies, do no good. It's that they can actively cause harm. We know that a generation of school children have suffered significant speech and developmental disabilities because this country panicked instead of using its brain and forced toddlers and small children to wear masks. We cannot return to the failed policies of the COVID pandemic. I'm not mad that we screwed up. I made mistakes. Many people in this body made mistakes. What I do think that we should avoid is repeating the mistakes in 2023. Let's learn from the mistakes that we made instead of just doubling down on them. This policy does not set anything for an unlimited period of time. It says that for the next 15 months, the government can't force you to wear a mask on planes, on public transit, or in public schools. Taxpayer dollars cannot be used to force and enforce a mandate against our people. It's not setting a policy that we cannot deal with pandemics in the future. If something else comes, God forbid, then let this body deal with it at this time. Now, let's learn the message. Let's heed the message from the American people, and let's learn the lessons of the past couple of years. Mandatory masking was a failure. It had costs for very little benefits, and we shouldn't repeat it. Mr. President, as of in legislative session, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S2738, the Freedom to Breathe Act, which is at desk. Further, that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Okay, there you go. He explained the bill to you, and I believe it's very reasonable. Our tax money should not be going towards funding mandates. So, like I had mentioned at the very beginning, we're always talking about they're doing this, they're doing that. I want to be active. I want to get ahead of this. I want to do something about it and not just be a sitting duck and allowing these things to happen to me or to us. So, like I said, I sent an email, a couple emails actually, to my senators because I want them to get behind Mr. Vance and support this bill so it goes federally, not just state, because here in the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis is doing a great job, but I want this to be at the federal level. So I'm going to share with you a couple things that I typed up. Like I said, I'm going to leave it in the caption. You can copy and paste and send it yourself. I did all the research and all the typing and all the punctuation for you. So there we go. And then I'm just going to break down the reasoning behind I wrote certain things because words carry weight and that will cause them to think. So I'm going to proceed. So one of them I wrote, and you can pick between whichever ones you would like to do. So good afternoon. The wonderful Senator JD Vance proposed Bill S2738, which is the Freedom to Breathe Act. Senator, please support this bill at the federal level for all Americans. Do not support the masking of children in schools. Evidence has been proven that masks do not stop transmission and are actually harmful for children long term. If you do not support this bill, you are in essence supporting the delay of speech and learning in children and advocating for social and psychological illness in children and adding a burden to their parents who pay your salaries. Mr. Senator, once again, please support Bill S2738. Please respond with support. I do not want a canned reply because sometimes they send the canned reply like, oh, just to kind of get you out of their hair. No, I want a real reply that you're going to support this, and I want it to be something true, not a canned response. So in the body of this, I put, if you do not support this bill, they're in essence contributing to the failure of children and psychological illness, mental illness, and delays in speech and learning. So if they go by supporting this and not supporting this bill, they're in essence supporting failure for children. And nobody wants children to fail. No one wants to hurt children. No one will say that out loud, especially politicians, because parents of these children vote. So that's the reason why I put it that way and structured that way. There's another one that I have here. You can read it yourself. It's just more of a overall for overall Americans. But the last portion I think carries a lot of weight, especially for politicians, because they're into money. And at the last part of the second one that I wrote, please vote against the mask mandates. Please show that you are working on our behalf and are worth the large salary we are paying you with our hard-earned pennies, which is very true. So like I said, I will leave that in the caption. Please do something about it. Be active citizens. Send these to your senators and tell them to support this bill. Support Mr. Vance in Ohio. All right, I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks so much for joining. Be sure to like, share, most of all share, and subscribe. Thanks.